Wonderful. So I hope I don't have any other people to, or maybe I can, let me see if I just can allow people to join in without me admitting them. Is there such a function? Hmm. Okay. Well, let's wait then maybe 3 more minutes before we meditate. So, wow. This is amazing. So, okay, so while I'm letting still people in, I just wanted to let whoever is new here, the intention is to really nourish strong connection to what we call in KI dimension 1, as well as dimension 2. It's kind of on the border, this practice on the border between dimension 1, dimension 2, and that doesn't mean level 1, level 2, we have a members area. What it means, dimension 1 is practices of non-duality, meditation, anything where we allow everything to be as they are without prompting anything. And yet this also answers questions of dimension 2, which is KI basics. It's really the ego map, really building and understanding and knowing and seeing all the unconscious coping mechanisms at play. So I will usually answer questions as such and address how to do KI from a perspective of awareness and how to bring more, how do I say, ungluing magic to the process. And so why I say it's also on the border, because with these kind of meditations, sometimes I do prompt questions of like, what are we if we're not a picture or a sensation? So there is a little bit of prompting, but the prompting is more like direct pointing to what else is here, what else is in our experience of not just being human. What else is here? Okay, so wow, it is awesome. It is a really full house. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. And why it is so important is that actually, I don't know if Sarah is still here. Oh, yes. So it was interesting. She just mentioned viewing some a non-dual young guy, and he was posting something, a post on Instagram. And maybe I'm making it into a broken phone, but the message was that you can't do it's like doing this emotional work on before waking up. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. And it was just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And that's my whole point of doing this. What does it really mean? It means that if we don't bring the perspective of being here now, if we don't bring the perspective of starting noticing that we are the space of everything that is arising, and building that capacity of being bigger and bigger and bigger and spacious and more welcoming space to everything, to the fear to be here, to the shame to be here, to whatever, the hate to come up as words, and to maybe the hurt of the little child and this fearful energy. So we can be the capacity to hold all that without fully being the mind trying to process trauma. Trauma can never process trauma. It just doesn't work that way. What can process trauma and what can process all of these neglected unconscious energies that are still living within us is presence. So the invitation of this is to tap more and more and cultivate more and more the curiosity, at least. What does it show up in our life as presence? What is it? How do we transcend identity? Because KI is a beautiful platform to actually transcend identity. But if we continuously doing the work from identity based, trying to fix what is broken or trying to arrive somewhere without realizing that the whole point of this work is to recognize that there's nowhere to arrive to and start being that allowing space. not allowing, let me practice allowing from my mind. I'm going to allow this and I'm going to allow that. This is a misunderstanding, missing the mark really of this work. It's recognizing that we are already an allowing space. So that's the intention of this, and not further ado, so we don't lose time. So we have a good half an hour to chat and just kind of tune in after. We're going to meditate in the beginning. And so I'll invite you to get comfortable. It's about 20 minutes and it's guided. It's a guided rest. So don't worry if you don't have a technique or you never done it before. You just need to basically follow and relax and just let me tell your mind what to do. So we can just start with getting comfortable and getting your body absolutely relaxed. What does it mean? If you want to recline, go ahead. Just recline and relax. Allow your body to fully let go into whatever position you're sitting in. Start with a few deep breaths. So full inhale. And fully let go. If you need to sigh, go ahead and sigh or hum. What it does, it activates the vagus nerve. And that cues the body and the nervous system to completely relax. So the invitation for the body to relax is so that the mind can also just take a moment and start letting go of control, start letting go of the need to do, and start letting go of the need to be someone, proving ourselves in one way or another, unconsciously sometimes, most of the time. Whether it's trying to be the good parent, the good worker, the good KI practitioner, whatever it is. So just allowing all that for a moment to relax. Even the good meditator, just allow that to come to rest for me. So the mind might be quite busy for whoever hadn't meditated for a while or at all. The mind might be very noisy and agitated. It might find this very boring, but it's totally normal. Have patience. And if anything, make it a practice of tenderness and just loving kindness toward your experience. Meaning, don't judge what's happening. Judging what's happening is still the mind of control, hadn't relaxed. When we relax, fully control. What it really looks like is we don't know how this moment is going to show up. How this experience of being me is going to show up. So we're staying curious instead of goal-oriented. And the more you come back to that curiosity of wanting to see how the moment manifests without manipulation, your whole system will learn how to relax faster and faster. With practice to a point where you just can close your eyes and everything will immediately stop. Without the need to control. And through the only practice of deep relaxation. And when I mean stop, it means not that your thinking stops, not that the fluctuation of pictures coming and going, sensations coming and going. This doesn't stop. Sometimes, but we have no control over it. What stops is your agitation with what shows up. So it's like learning to relax agitation. Agitation, just simply resistance to what is. So learning to relax resistance. And it's not through effort. It's through our capacity of moving and stepping into that which is already relaxed and quiet. And there might be sounds, whether thoughts grasping your attention, or whether outside noises. And there might be so many other things that are taking space, that are grasping your attention. But you can also notice, even with all that noise and all that sound, there is something here already quiet. You have to get really quiet and really curious. Is there truly something already still? Something unmoved underneath all the movement. And you might catch yourself again being lost in thinking. And it's totally fine. And just noticing that we'll be back into the present moment, back into reality, back into direct experience. And if you're back here now, perhaps you can give your mind something to play with instead of thought, something to be curious about. And perhaps, what does it feel like when I fully relax, full control? Let us stay curious with that question. What does it feel like to really let go of control? Does it look like awareness can just be spontaneous all of a sudden? Does it look like we're not going to manipulate it? Tell it what to do, what to think, what to pay attention to? Can I allow awareness to be spontaneous? And be aware of whatever it wants to be aware of. The breath, the sounds, the sensations. Perhaps it wants to be aware of the pain in your knee or in your ankle. Just stay curious where else it's going to go after that. What else it's going to be aware of. You might find it might be roaming around for a while. And if you can relax even deeper, you might find it actually wants to also just rest. Just be still. So still remaining curious. What does it feel like letting go of control? Does it feel agitating? Does it feel spacious? Does it fill you with hope? Does it fill you with more effort? What's the response? And the little hint is only by relaxing deeper and deeper, you can start noticing that there's this already restful space, always available. That also means relaxing the need to arrive at the restful state. And if things are quite busy in your internal environment, just try to notice if there's something else from which those words, those pictures, those thoughts, those sensations, memories, whatever is arising from you. If there's actually something where they arise from and where to they disappear. Just stay there curiously watching. Maybe you'll catch a glimpse that there's something other than just words and pictures. If you were able to arrive in some restful space or a restful state, just notice that it's a given. It comes and goes. You cannot grasp onto it. You cannot wish it. You cannot just bring it at will. The only thing you can is release control. Or at least the illusion of that and the effort of that. So we're just going to remain in silence for about 5 minutes or so. So find your point of anchor if you need to, if it's sound or if it's your breath. Find something that is present here now. And you can always go back to that if you get lost. So we can slowly come back to attending the body if it needs to move or stretch, or if you move that leg that fell asleep or something. You can still remain with your eyes closed a little bit, just respecting your own pace. Now, if you have lost yourself many times over and over in thought, there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually the beauty of that. The many times you did come back to here now, to yourself, to reality, is flexing that muscle of awareness over and over. And it's true, it does take practice, but it doesn't have to be just on the cushion. You can start catching yourself throughout the day, being lost in the realm of thought, being lost in the realm of the ego, trying to figure out life, trying to survive life, trying to problem solve life. So, and that's mostly a huge bundle of resistance. And so there's this tension in the mind, and there's this deep relaxation of being here now. So the invitation is to catch yourself over and over and over again throughout the day as much as you can, so that you can build that, flex that muscle of being present, coming back, coming back, coming back. And eventually, KI will help you as well to clear some noise. And eventually, it's just going to be so much more spontaneous and natural just to admire the simplicity of the present moment instead of being bored or uncomfortable or irritated and trying to run away from it. So let's connect just for a moment before we open our eyes with the intention that brought you to KI or that brought you here. Just bring attention to your heart. And what is it? What is it that sacred something, that calling? Just connect to it. Just thank it. I'm here. Thank you. I'm really grateful. Even though it might have been really painful. Whatever brought you here. But you're here. And that's what matters. So just take it seriously. It's a gift. So slowly, let's open our eyes and well, still have some time. I'll open up to a question or two. Let's see how many we can fit.
Hi.
Hi, Nicole.
Just a couple of things, not really questions, sort of comments. I really love that. I do find that the way what you say is just really, really supports me in my deepening. So yeah, thank you. It's yeah. And then on a practical note, I don't always catch everything you say. There's a sort of like a word would just slightly disappear. I tried turning the volume up and that helped a bit, but I don't know whether it's when you kind of like drop your voice like that and it's kind of like, so there's a bit of me that's like, because I'm hanging on the words and then there's another bit that comes and said, look, it's not really just the words. So it's quite an interesting sort of thing that's going on there.
I hear you. Thank you so much. I mean, on practical level, next time I'll use my mic. It's much as like the simplest of like the whispers. That's one thing. And another thing, it's wonderful, like you were just able to be with the process, right? It's like we never know what's best for us, like what really gonna create that kind of like a sabotaging inner environment to be with, right?
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I need to catch up to all the words. Like, okay, let me be with that. There's that need to control as well.
Yeah.
So just kind of expanding, right? Expanding towards that as well. But thank you. It's lovely. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Nicole. Anyone else? Anything else? If you feel like sharing, it doesn't have to be a question. It's really just we're here with each other. So nice to be with you. Hi, Annie. So nice. Am I pronouncing maybe wrong one?
Me?
Yeah, I'm just saying hi.
Oh, hi. I like to have my hands on my heart. So when I put my second hand over my heart, I thought maybe you interpreted that to mean that I had my hand up. But hi.
Hi.
Oh, that was a good, I'll share a little.
Yes, please.
Oh, I've had a lot of grief arising lately, and there's just a stillness, like there's movement energetically, emotionally, with a background of stillness. And I recently kind of stopped believing in God. I was raised atheist, then I had some spiritual experiences, and it made me question, this is a mental thing, but whether people who believe, like, quote, God is watching, that there is some understanding that we have as humans, that there is some, either a loving presence, there is some presence that is, I experience it as something intrinsic and external as well.
Mhm.
Just as this very deep quiet.
I'm feeling it. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm. And I will also say that as a child, there was no safety, so I didn't have this experience until, like, I started working on myself and my issues in my late teens, and I'm 63, but in the last 2 years where I gave up eating flour and sugar, it's really kind of the first time that I hear birds and then silence and, like, all these things in life that were always happening. So it's kind of like a sense of, newness all the time.
Wow. That's so beautiful. It's a sense of refinement. And I think, I don't know if it's for anyone and everyone like that, but I did find a period of coming to presence and coming to these practices and whatever. And when I was 27, everything started to unfold. And I was this junky vegetarian, eating so much cheese and so much flour and so much. And then I was like, obviously clearing my nostrils and trying to balance my polarity so I can meditate deeper, because I was just stuffed and I couldn't breathe and it's just terrible. And then I became raw vegan. I didn't but I stayed for 5 years. But the difference of attunement to my body, the subtleties, the sensitivity to everything became so refined that I totally understood some of what raw fooders been talking about, like the clarity of mind, less fog, and all these qualities that they would tap into physically, attuning their body physically to the natural rhythms and the natural foods and so on, that they were able to even sit longer, meditate. I guess gut flora also gets established. And I've heard of miraculous things where people had to reintroduce a different gut flora and were able to sit down and meditate all of a sudden, because they're just like their whole ecosystem was carrying a completely different imprint, the capacity. It's quite fascinating, the holistic approach to all this. And it's definitely an attunement and a refinement. And when you hear Ken Wilber talking about things like waking up, yes, very important, and clearing up, very important, and growing up. And then he talks about this ways of imagine how the awake realization and the cleared up subconscious stuff, and on the level of just the evolution part, the growing up part happens, the possibility to deliver the message, to impact others, impact yourself, impact the world becomes such a different way of just like a holistic, yes, transcendence and evolution at the same time. So this kind of embodiment. So I think all of these things it's not to, completely dismiss. The yogi's been clearing their temples, so to say, for years and years before able to actually tap into samadhi. And there was a clearing of the energetics, there was the clearing of the emotional body, then there was the clearing of physical body. There's this constant cleansing that they used to do. So it's there's definitely some sort of a science behind really this kind of finer attunement that I guess we're just so bombarded with like the wrong chemistry and food that kind of creates lots of unnecessary noise and disease, unfortunately. Yeah. So thank you, for a great reminder. A great reminder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always say, like the most healthiest things are all free. It's like fasting, this amazing thing that we can do, water fast, meditation, the most amazing thing that we can do. Learning KI, and we can do it ourselves. And it's just like here with just these three things, we attuned to our physical need, our emotional need, and our spiritual need, and it's all free, all available. Wonderful. Anyone else? Any sharing? Any questions? Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Harry, I see you nodding there. Yes. Yeah, and silence is nice too. But I guess I'll share a little bit about this letting go of control that we kind of started a little bit in meditation. And if anything, this KI is a platform for that, learning that, right? It's learning to relax resistance, right? It's a more practical approach to what we hear in non-duality all the time, allow things to be as they are. Okay, wonderful, but how do we actually do that? And of course, we can come and we can sit down and start learning in an actual practical way on the cushion, closing your eyes, and just start allowing everything the way the meditation goes, without necessarily having a goal. Apart from the goal could be relaxing, deeper relaxing. And what I mean relax is not just our bodies are relaxing, right? In meditation, yes, it's a cue to, so let's say, transcend. A relaxed body, unmoved body gives a cue to the mind to relax, right? and the mind relaxing, it just drops the manipulation of awareness. Then awareness can become spontaneous, and therefore also at some point after being curious about this and this and that, it can also just stop and rest. So it's this one is cueing the other to relax, to relax. But that's a process on the cushion, and that's the whole invitation is to, you can create those spaces, not necessarily closing your eyes. You can create those spaces of just allowing things as they are and just relaxing the need to feel in a certain way, be in a certain way while you're washing dishes or while you're eating and not rushing anywhere. And I talked a little bit about it before, just being one pointed with what is can be a great portal. But how do we do this relaxing? How do we practice that? And what does it really mean in our day-to-day life with our internal direct experience? And this is such a beauty when we are actually able to master it. And KI gives us the opportunity to do that. What does it really mean? It's stop arguing with what's already like there, because there is like our trauma is kind of like a rubber band, right? So it's like it happened and got its tension and its tension and tension, and all of a sudden it's so tense we can't hold it anymore. We see there's something terribly tight, terribly wrong. It's like obviously it just probably shows up as either disease or what have you, like different discomforts in our life. And then at some moment we decide to kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna let it go. So the momentum of these triggers will still be showing up, right? Like life will still going to be showing up. Relationships are showing up. So things going to be showing up still. Emotions, our reaction to certain things. But it's now with this unwinding process is the learning, and the platform of KI offers an opportunity to learn how to enter a relaxed state with doesn't matter what shows up. Like really doesn't really matter what shows up. And it comes in a point of, practicing it probably with little things, or the commitment to actually do that anytime we remember to do that. And it's just taking a stand of the witness as opposed to the involved trauma child or trauma energy or trauma response. So all of a sudden something is happening within our system because something triggered it, probably from outside. It's obviously it's not them. Obviously, whatever gets triggered, it's something I'm believing about myself. It's an old story. And so allowing this old story, so how can I truly, what does it really mean to truly let go of control here? Because if I continue holding that rubber band, that means I'm trying to control it. I'm really trying to control it. So it's really going to become more tense, what it looks like trying to control it. I'm going to try. So if something happened and I got triggered, I'm going to try to prove them wrong. I'm going to try to, maybe there's the response, I need to try to hide. I need to remove myself from the picture. I need to remove myself from the relationship. I need to fight. I need to, maybe anger comes up, whatever the protection mechanisms that show up. There also might come up. But what if I just give all that the space to be here without acting? What if I just, like in human terms, what if I just sleep over it before I just make the reactive move? Even though if the trigger happened immediately in a relationship and in conversation with someone, what if I tell them, you know what, I cannot really continue this conversation right now. There's a lot that's going on in my system right now, and I don't want it to come from a wrong place. How about we come back to this conversation tomorrow? And you have a whole day and a whole night to just allow what is. So it means like I'm no longer trying to hold it. So I'm no longer trying to control it. Because trying to control it is this continuous reaction of body-mind trying to survive. It believes something unconsciously about itself, and it wants to prove everyone wrong, or it wants to reconfirm itself being right. Whatever it is that is happening. So in this becoming the space, although it might feel super uncomfortable to be with whatever is arising for you. It might be intense moments of sadness and intense pain. And if you look through the lens of that, you can't see clearly. You cannot. You just will not make the right choices. So knowing you can tell yourself in that moment, this too shall pass, and take yourself for a moment and be the space for all that to come as a storm and to subside as a storm. And then perhaps you start glimpsing, oh, the clear sky is still here. It was never lost, it was covered, it was mudded. But it's this is the learning to letting go of control. And then when we start doing it over and over with small things, big things, major things, you're going to start noticing that like life has such better solutions to everything effortlessly without controlling at all. And it's just so much slower than the pace of our minds. So we just need to give it some space. We just need to become. The bell suddenly rings. We just need to start becoming the space. And when we start recognizing that we are the space, letting go of control becomes so much more easier and becomes like we're practicing what it shows up as. You know, Nisargadatta Maharaj said, the difference between you and I, whoever was asking him the question, that it just take me a moment to come back to reality. Whereas for you, it might take you days or whatever, years. I don't remember the exact words. But that's the difference. It's like this moment between content or whatever, this life happening, human messiness happening, to a moment where we recognize, oh, I'm not that, becomes shorter and shorter and shorter, so that we can fully relax into just being the space, that stillness that always here. And in the beginning, to the mind, and mind might look like stillness. It might look like, what the hell am I doing with my life for 2 days? Not responding to that person. Because we might be still orienting ourselves here from a space of thinking. But if we start learning how to retrieve ourselves and come back to just the observer, just observing, just noticing, just allowing, just bringing it to KI. Okay, it's still here. Let me move it. Let me just inquire, what is this package that wants to move through? Just this bundle of energy and emotion and repressed sensations and all that stuff. Well, okay, let me process that with KI. Let me empty it more. Let me empty it more. So it's like it's this combination of transcendence. This letting go of control is transcendence. And processing that eventually gives so much more space to be playful, to be honest, to be, not to rush into any decisions, but to actually allow life to move forward with enough space to come from the right place. And how it looks here, a lot of things look very, very ordinary and human. And there was just 2 days ago, there was such sadness with this relationship that, anyway, it's just this new kind of arising. And all of a sudden, some sort of human part here attached itself to some sort of an outcome, and then it saw the dissolution of that immediately. And then there was so much sadness with that. And instead of acting upon it, it was just like, okay, just be with it. I'll just be with it. I'll just inquire, see what needs to be seen. Maybe it's seen immediately, maybe awareness. You're just so aware of your patterns already that you recognize it immediately. But it's just like, it was just this beauty of welcoming the pain, of allowing the pain, not reacting upon the pain. And then it passed. And the beauty of that relationship is still not hurt, not wounded, not damaged, because I didn't come from that pain back into the relationship. So it just gives that, that immediate ability to relax, even into the most painful, and kind of a little bit like when you were sharing previously, like there's a lot of grief, and yet there's so much stillness. Just that. Thank you. Yeah. And it's not to scare you off. It actually might feel even more painful, because all of a sudden we're so freaking available. We're just so available to really, really feel it. Because before we're just trying to control. It means I don't want to feel this. I want to run away. I want to feel better. And like all these things. And we distract ourselves either in here or either in whatever activities that we do. And all of a sudden, like, wow, I'm fully here. And it hurts so much. And I was just saying 2 days ago, oh my gosh, this being human is so fucking painful. Yeah.
I'd like to say something else, because yeah, that's this being human. Earlier when you said that how there are these things that we can do and they're free, and I thought, they don't cost money, but they're not free, in that I've just been so aware, like, that the price of being fully human is being willing to feel my feelings and hold myself and yeah, like, well, for me, without drugs, alcohol, food, blah blah blah, all that, like, there's definitely a price. It's totally worth it. And I was somebody that when I used substances and behaviors, I would still have pain. So it never really worked for me in terms of not having the pain, but I didn't process through stuff. So I would have a lot of pain. And sometimes this was my journey for years, is I would go through really intense pain, and then I'd pick up later after I had, and I wasn't transitioning and having the energetic movement and coming into freedom and spaciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great reminder, definitely. And I just want to finish with this one thing, right? It's the beauty of emptying and this work, and really cultivating that curiosity to know, and to know, not intellectually to know, to be who we are more and more and more fundamentally, is the capacity and that attunement, that subtleties that we were talking previously a little bit about. Yes, it's the capacity to feel a lot of pain, and yet it's the capacity to also feel so much beauty, right? And it's not being afraid anymore of the full spectrum of life. And that's the suchness of this. Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, it's lovely to be with you here. I have 6 people there waiting. Yeah, thanks a lot. Harry, can you make it to the clarity call later today? I think I emailed you. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you. Bye, Nicole. Nice to see you. Bye, everyone. Sorry I haven't seen your faces. Maybe next time.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
Thank you,
we can do it.
Alina. Okay,
Bye,
okay.
Alina.
Bye, bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Terry. So I'll see you a little bit later.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Margot. Good to meet everyone. Okay, so you guys will have to log out because I have to get some others in.